Good morning, everybody. The 28th of August, 2024. And I kind of had a feeling when I touched the rail of sort of philosophy on the channel and mentioned my background in studying philosophy in college yesterday with the video about artificial intelligence and what we really have to fear or don't have to fear from artificial intelligence. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. Yesterday morning's video. But I knew somebody would come out and ask, when they hear philosophy, what's the first thing that comes to mind is, tell us, great Swami, what's the meaning of life? And tell me why my life always feels so unfulfilled. And it's critical. It's a critical question. And the fact that so many people ask in life through so many millennia, what is the meaning of life, tells you that in asking that question, there's something very important behind it. Meaning, we know through thousands of years, way back to the Greek philosophers, and probably even before that, people would say, well, we're so different than everything else I see on the face of the earth. Is there some reason or some meaning to my life that makes me so incredibly different from other animals on earth? And you look around and say, if there's supposedly evolution and things like that, then how come I spurred off so differently? Cats, dogs, cows, camels don't search for a meaning in life. But I do, and we do through 4,000 plus years of asking. But I would tell you something much more important lies behind that question. That question has been asked, we know that. We hear it up until this day. But the issue behind is why? Why do people through 4,000 years ask that question? That's the much more intriguing question to me, because that's where you can find real meaning. Let's think about life in general as we grow up and the things that are most meaningful to us. And there's no denying that when people go along in life, especially maybe teenagers or people that are older, and they're yearning for a relationship. Perhaps they lost a relationship. Perhaps someone has passed away, and they're seeking some new relationship in life or thinking about it. But when you think about relationships and you think about love and you think about meaning, when are the times that human beings reach the fullest flower of having meaning in their life? In other words, when are they dramatically transformed into things that they think about, the way they think about life? It's not through the things that they purchase, right? The cars, the boats, the fancy dinings, the vacations and things like that. Those things aren't really designed by the Creator to bring us happiness. They bring us temporal happiness, but there's no meaning, there's no obvious meaning behind that except fulfillment of self and what I want in my life, what I want to buy, where I want to go, what I want to do. In other words, you can tell that as you get down to self, and this is the horrors of a world today where, the books are the joy of being selfish and things like that. No, it's not. It's putting us in a place where the more we acquire and the more we own, the more we set out to have, the less happy as a society we are. Now, I think about my times back in Asia. When I spent 5 years in Asia, the predominant amount of that time was in China. But I also spent a lot of time in the Philippines down there. And at the time I was there, you would think, given the things that happened, that the people in the Philippines would be the most unhappiest people in the history of the world. They had a crazy, I don't want to say crazy, but a selfish dictator, and Ferdinand Marcos and his wife Imelda with the 5,000 pairs of shoes while people are just barely scraping by. And then we had Mount Pinatubo erupt there and bury Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines and just wreak havoc in the Philippines there. And on top of that, we had, people power rise with Aquino, who was shot on the tarmac at the Manila airport, and the rise of his wife, Corazon Aquino. And this was all contemporary to the time that I was in Asia. And I thought to myself, when I'm flying down there from China to the Philippines, I'm thinking to myself, man, talk about being kicked in the butt 100 times down here. These people have been ravaged, savaged, and everything else by nature, by politics. I'm riding down the street from the airport, and every corner business. There's a guy in, a private security uniform with a submachine gun standing in front of the banks and stuff. I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do we got here? I get in there the first time and I can't even believe it. It's like the people have absolutely nothing at all, right? And they're putting it all in front. What they do have, they're putting in front of you, A gallon of gas, tremendously expensive. Oh, I'll take you here. We're going to go out to a seafood restaurant. You pick out your live seafood. They cook it. And they come meet my family. And these people don't have a pot to pee in, and this is all over. If you know Manila and Philippines, Angeles City, and places like that are just absolutely grinding impoverished like you cannot perceive in the United States of America or in Western Europe or much in the West. It truly is a whole nother world. But the thing that amazed me most was how family was elevated within that culture, and the people were right. The people they weren't focused. I mean, they were just focused in themselves and families and laughing and relationships and stuff. And I'm looking around in the house. Half of the house is falling down. The roof's caved in, and I'm like, Pop, how you gonna fix this? The Lord will provide. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Right? Happy people. Same thing. I travel all over Mexico to some of the most destitute areas, some of the most dangerous places in the world. Acapulco, which was considered the most dangerous city, murder capital of the entire world. And I'm thinking to myself, shiver me timbers, I better keep a low profile. But everywhere I go there, and in the worst neighborhoods of slums of Mexico City and San Luis and Los Algodones and Mexicali, and people are just scrapping out a living. Wild dogs running around the streets and stuff. And the people are happy. You ride by these houses that are barely supported by 4 sticks, with a blue 25-gallon jug outside with water, and these people have the music blaring, and they're so happy, and they don't have a doggone thing in life except love for each other and love for family. Now, that brings me back to what I originally talked about. The thing that most hits the bell with people in terms of happiness is giving of themselves. When you take away the advertising and the creation of wants in the human spirit by watching what other people have, or watching television or cable or looking at YouTube videos, and you think to yourself, ay caramba, I want to have that stuff. I want to have that. I want to have that latest Beamer. I want to have that Ford F-350 pickup truck that's lifted 150,000. Who cares? If I got the credit, I'm gonna buy it. And you see people in our society today drowning emotionally in the midst of all this material wealth, and but in the heart of that, right, is a real diminished understanding that, you know, there's something greater than us in the world, and that something greater must give the meaning in life, and it is love. Now think about this too. What is the happiest a person feels? They can go along and be the most miserable person in the world, sour, you know, life sucks, and all of a sudden they meet somebody, perk up, and have a relationship, and they become a totally changed individual, right? They smile, they look radiant, they're just enveloped with the beauty and the glow of love. And pretty soon they're not thinking about themselves, right? They're not thinking about themselves. They're suddenly in a position where, my goodness, I got somebody else to vest this 5 million gallons of love into, and it changes them dramatically, okay? And it makes them a whole new person, and they find happiness, and they're bubbly, and life is good. You know, even the deplorable things, material in their lives, don't matter, don't mean a thing now, because they have love, and they go up to a whole nother level of their existence, right? They don't even care if they eat, as long as everything is, I love you so much, I would do anything in the world to you. How often do you hear it for you? How often do you hear that in blossoming love relationships? I would do anything in the world for you. I would walk over, cut glass and hot coals for you. My love for you is so strong. Notice in that, it's not about me, right? It's not about the person is professing that, it's the other person. And that is the real aspect, that's the real heart of love, is when you selfishly surrender yourself for the love of another person. Now in our society today, of course, that fades, because we have yardsticks of comparison. We look at cable, we look at YouTube. We understand in the world, well, why can't you be more like this person, or you changed, or this or that? It starts to crumble away, right? Because it's very fleeting. It's like a delicate canary. It's only gonna last so long in a super perfect environment, and then it fades away. So a lot of times today, it's reason so many people are unhappy is they've given up on the idea of love, or they vest their love into other things. We've had the rise of, say, the whole pet culture here, where you know, people go out and dogs and cats and things, and they become like surrogate children's, because we're designed to put love into something away from ourselves. We're not designed to love ourselves. This is the greatest lie that there is. This is the work of the devil in our society today, that we have to be selfish and think about ourselves. What gives meaning to life is what's always given meaning to life. The only thing that ever feels like it takes us to a whole nother level, and that is love. And you know what? That didn't come through evolution of species and things like that. That had to come from a greater place, and it's what makes you unique in life. Now, what does that mean? You say, well, Roosevelt, I don't have a chance to go out and get a nice relationship or something like that. But you can find ways to give of yourself and invest in other people, to see their smiles and things. And after a while, you think to yourself, I would do anything for them to recreate that moment of love. That often means breaking those habits of being self-indulgent with sadness and emotional stress, and getting outside and doing something for other people, recreating that emotional bliss that comes with love, right? I would do anything for you. You wonder why people turn towards God, because once they kind of get it, right, they understand that they owe a tremendous debt of gratitude, right? And they would do anything at that point out of love for God. So you need to have something of meaning in your life. Don't fall for the trap of the joy of being selfish and it's all about me and what I want and I. Remember, in the English language, I is capitalized as I whenever we put it down. It's the only language in the world that capitalizes I. It puts us as the great capital of our lives, when in fact, it's other people and doing for others that really matters and brings happiness. What's the meaning of life? In my opinion, now you know. If you've enjoyed this little philosophical jaunt today, please subscribe to the channel, give a thumbs up. Great variety here. We're adding fishing and crabbing for the fall. Metal detecting has been a staple. Vintage audio you can see behind me. And yeah, I get requested to do some of these videos too. And before I kind of shied away, but we test the water here. So if you enjoyed it, give a thumbs up and a nice comment down below. Subscribe, hit that bell for all notifications. And I will see you guys later. Thanks so much for watching.